You're trying to find a machine that sits on a desk without taking up the whole surface, runs your daily apps without hiccup, lets you connect 3 monitors for that extra screen real estate, and still feels like a solid investment instead of a flashy spec sheet you'll regret later. I get it, buying a mini PC can feel like stepping into a minefield of tiny cases, overheating fans, and compromises you didn't sign up for. That's why I spent a few evenings scrolling through forums, watching unboxing videos, and reading the handful of reviews that actually mention real-world use before I hit the record button. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about what the Beelink GTI13 Ultra actually does for you, not just what the brochure says. This thing packs a 13-inch chassis with a 12th generation Intel Core i9-13900HK that can boost up to 5.4 GHz. In plain English, you're getting a laptop-grade CPU that's been rehoned into a desktop-sized shell. Pair that with 64 GB of DDR5 RAM and a 2 TB NVMe SSD, and you basically got a workstation that can spin up Photoshop files, compile code, and run multiple VMs without you feeling the lag. The first thing I tested was opening a 30 GB video project in DaVinci Resolve, cutting a few clips, and rendering a 1080p preview. The whole process stayed under a minute, and the UI never froze. That's the kind of speed you need if you're editing on the side while answering emails or video conferencing. Now, why does the footprint matter? The GTI 13 Ultra is about the size of a large paperback. On my desk, it sits next to a monitor and leaves the rest of the surface free for a keyboard, mouse, and a notebook. Compare that with a traditional tower that can easily dominate a corner, and you instantly see the space advantage. For people who work from a coffee shop table or a cramped home office, that compactness translates into real flexibility. You can pull it out of a bag, set it up on a small side table, and you're good to go. Ports are another make-or-break factor for mini PCs. The GTI 13 Ultra gives you HDMI, DisplayPort, and a USB-C that doubles as a video out. In my setup, I hooked 3 27-inch 144Hz monitors, 2 via DP and 1 via HDMI without any extra adapters. The system handled them all at 1080p flawlessly, and even when I pushed a 4K stream to one screen for a design mockup, the other two stayed smooth. That triple display capability is a rare find at this price point. Most mini PCs stop at 2. The inclusion of a 2.5 gigabits per second Ethernet port is also a nice touch if you need a rock-solid wired connection for large file transfers or low-latency gaming. Speaking of gaming, the gaming mini PC label might raise eyebrows. There's no dedicated GPU, but the i9's integrated SE graphics are surprisingly competent for a device this size. I ran a few indie titles **Hades**, Celeste, and even Valorant at medium settings, and the frame rates were comfortably above 60 frames per second on a 1080p display. If you're planning to push modern AAA titles at ultra settings, you'll hit the ceiling quickly, but for casual and indie games, or as a supplemental console for family members, it does the job. Thermals and fan noise are where mini PCs often trip up. The GTI 13 Ultra uses a dual-fan cooling solution that, on paper, sounds aggressive. In practice, the fans spin up to a noticeable hum when the CPU hits a sustained 4 GHz load, like during that DaVinci render. However, the noise stays under 40 dB, which is comparable to a quiet office air conditioner. In a quiet room, you'll hear it, but it doesn't become a distraction. The chassis stays warm to the touch, but the temperatures stay in the low 80s Celsius under heavy load, which is within Intel's safe range. If you're a night owl who needs absolute silence, a small external fan or a better ventilated desk placement might be worth considering. Upgrade ease is something many buyers overlook until they actually want to add more storage or memory. The GTI 13 Ultra's back panel has a removable panel that gives you access to the M.2 slot and a second slot for an additional SSD. Adding another drive is a screwdriver-free pop-open job, which is a relief compared to trying to pry open a cramped mini PC with a hidden screw. The RAM is soldered, so you can't upgrade it beyond the 64 GB it ships with, still a massive amount for most workloads, but a potential limitation if you ever need 128 GB for massive datasets. Who should buy this? If you're a content creator who needs a portable workstation, a developer running multiple containers, a remote worker who values a tidy desk, or a gamer who wants a secondary device for less demanding titles, this is a solid fit. The combination of high-end CPU, plenty of RAM, and fast storage means you won't be bottlenecked for years, and the triple display support lets you expand your visual workspace without buying a separate graphics card. The built-in Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2 also make